everyone. I'm Miguel, co-founder and CEO of Otis AI, and welcome to the Rapid Returns Show powered by MeetOtis.com. Today I have Will Stevenson from Onboard with me on the show, and they're going to share with us their expert insights on scaling a startup through digital advertising. My challenge today is to provide a rapid returns tip to Will to help you scale your startup with new innovative strategies. So let's dive into it. So Will, can you provide me an overview of your company, including who your target customers are and the problem that you're trying to solve?
Sure. Absolutely. So Onboard is a customer onboarding software. So basically what we do is we help companies onboard their customers faster. We do that through a number of different ways, but ultimately we allow businesses to create dynamic launch plans for their customers and then share those launch plans with the customers to give everyone visibility and increase accountability. So I would say our ideal customer profile are software companies that are based in US or Canada, ideally with more than a couple people that are specialized in customer onboarding within that organization.
That's amazing. Can you share some of the background behind the evolution of your vision for Onboard and how it's developed as you've scaled the business?
Sure, happy to do that. So my background is all in early stage B2B software. So over the past decade or so, 12 years, I've helped scale early stage B2B SaaS companies, largely focusing on customer success and onboarding. And I think I just grew really frustrated in that experience, right? I'd look around and sales would have Salesforce and product would have product board, and my onboarding team would be using Excel files, right? Or project management software that was generic. That was usually passed down from another department in the organization. And I thought there had to be a better way. So I was fortunate enough to be a part of a few different acquisitions. After my last acquisition, I went out and consulted for about 18 months or so. And in that experience, working with a half dozen companies or so, I realized that everyone kind of had the same trouble with onboarding. They were all using piecemeal solutions, trying to get it all to work well together. And it just never did. So it's a little cliche, but I got the band back together for my last company and helped build out Onboard. And here we are a few years later.
Wow, that's amazing. You're definitely solving an important pain point for these B2B SaaS companies. Have you raised funding so far to support the growth of Onboard? How has that process been, and what is your traction like today?
Yeah, for sure. So we've raised a few different rounds here. I feel like nowadays rounds are classified under so many different things, but we raised pre-product. We're actually a YC company, so raised money before YC and after YC as well. In total, a little over $3 million total, and gaining traction every day. Every day we get new signups.
Amazing. Can you discuss any significant milestones or achievements that you've achieved so far, and what role did you and your team play in those accomplishments?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest achievements is just becoming a YC company, right? There have been so many.
Yeah, that's an amazing milestone.
Yeah, there have been so many great companies that have come out of YC, and I think joining that team and becoming a part of the family and going through that exercise was super helpful. But I mean, other than that, just gaining customers, right? Gaining traction and seeing real enterprise companies that sign up with Onboard that have thousands of employees and thousands of implementations that they're trying to coordinate all through one platform. And that's kind of where we've come in.
Yeah, and a big focus of the program is really to get to the product market fit and have a lean approach with iterating on your product and value proposition. So I would say in marketing and growth, that's a big part of the strategy as well, to iterate and to get to those benchmarks so that you can scale your strategy. So how have you approached that so far? Do you currently have an advertising budget, and do you feel that it's optimal for maximizing those returns?
Yeah, so to be completely honest, we don't spend a ton of money on paid today. Um, where we get most of our customers from inbound traffic, it's largely SEO driven. And we do some retargeting. We focus on LinkedIn primarily, some of Facebook. But largely our customers are coming inbound from SEO and word of mouth, which has been extremely nice on our side. We're doing some outbound as well to really target the ideal customers, but largely it's inbound today.
That makes sense. So what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in scaling the business through those strategies, and how have you overcome them?
Sure. And I think, I mean, first and foremost, when you think about an inbound organization that's largely receiving inbound leads and not doing a ton of paid targeting, you get a lot of companies that aren't great fits, right? And it's not necessarily making it all the way through the funnel that we're concerned about.
Yeah.
It's largely just coming to the top of the funnel, where you're getting customers that just wouldn't be ideal customers. And whether it's top of the funnel or bottom of the funnel, it's really just a metric of how much time are you spending on the wrong fit. Right now, we're not spending a ton of time because it's all top of the funnel and we can weed those companies out pretty quickly. But nonetheless, as we scale, it's becoming more and more of a challenge to, or maybe not even a challenge, maybe that's not the right word. Maybe it's time consuming to weed out those companies that aren't the perfect fit.
Yeah. What is your marketing qualification process or sales qualification process today? So, and also, like, are the leads that are coming in through your channels, are they different from what you would categorize as your ideal customer profile for the business?
Sure. Yes and no is the answer to the second question. So it's never perfectly black or white, unfortunately, but yeah. So I think a lot of people coming in, many people coming in are great fits. Many people coming in aren't great fits. The way that we determine if it's a good fit or not is purely based on, do they have an onboarding team today? How big is that onboarding team? How large is the company that we're working with? Where are they based? And what does their onboarding process look like? So onboard focuses on companies where their onboarding process takes multiple steps, right? And to achieve becoming live or actually using the product. If I look at really great organizations, like if I pick one out of the hat and say Slack is a really great organization, really big, but they don't have a complex onboarding process, right? It's you sign up for Slack, gives you tooltips throughout, tells you to invite your team, upload files. That wouldn't be an ideal fit for us, right? Despite that they're huge and could be a really great logo for us. Companies that are really great for us are those companies that have that multi-step onboarding approach. Usually today they're saturated by having calls and, every week or every other week with customers, trying to get them onboarded, sending emails and managing that entire process in Excel or a generic project management software.
Yeah, we're familiar with that process too, because as we're a growing B2B SaaS company, so that does make a lot of sense. And so when you acquire leads to the top of funnel today, are they coming in through a lead form on your website or lead capture form on an ad, for example?
Yeah, exactly. Lead forms, they push into our CRM. We use HubSpot as our CRM. We're big HubSpot users all the way across the board. But yeah, the lead form will push in there. Ultimately, it will notify us in Slack as well. We'll get that notification. We'll put our reading glasses on and dive in and see if they're qualified.
We discussed how you target through SEO, and it's very keyword driven and intent based, and also you have some inbound and outbound channels. So how are you approaching the targeting on those channels and the criteria for what kind of businesses or decision makers you're targeting?
Sure. So largely it's based on industry. And maybe it shouldn't be, right? When we first started, onboard, we were really focused on B2B SaaS as the key industry that we wanted to go after. And it still largely is B2B SaaS today. That said, we've seen widening use cases here, from digital agencies like yourself, or the space that you play in at least, digital agencies to specific agencies like Salesforce or HubSpot implementation agencies. So we largely focus on the area that the customer is focused on, B2B SaaS, agencies, et cetera. We're largely geared to B2B SaaS in our top of the funnel efforts. And maybe we should widen that up a little bit. And then down to the individual that we're targeting VPs of customer success, VPs of onboarding, VPs of implementation, some directors as well. But that's kind of who we're targeting at a high level.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So before I give you your rapid returns tip of the day, what advice do you have for startups looking to scale your business with digital advertising?
So the advice that I have across the board is always focus. I think without focus, everyone is kind of looking in the wrong directions, right? You have to have your blinders on, no matter what you're doing, whether it's digital advertising or working on getting your first customer or working on getting your 1,000th customer, or servicing, right? No matter what you're doing in the business world, especially in the B2B SaaS world, you have to have your blinders on and stay focused.
I agree with that completely. And that's a little bit aligned with what I was going to give for the rapid returns tip. So clearly you've had a very lean and a thoughtful strategy when it comes to growing organically and driving initial traction for the business, especially with the focus on SEO and driving intent-based opportunities, people that are interested in doing business with you. And I think one of the next steps as you continue to grow your direct acquisition channels is building that inbound funnel from channels, as you said, like LinkedIn, where you're focusing on different positions and decision makers. So one thing that we find is really successful is especially with the B2B sales strategy, where you have to target these specific decision makers and they have a very long sales cycle, is try to leverage the first party data as much as possible to target those ideal decision makers and customers. And that is really effective on a multi-channel approach. So not just on channels that you might think are very relevant for B2B marketing like LinkedIn, but we've also had a lot of success driving great payback periods on B2B SaaS for other channels like Facebook or Instagram or even TikTok, where we can very precisely target those customer lists and decision makers on all of those channels and drive top of mind. Another thing that's been really effective as well is, especially in your lead capture form, you're talking about doing market lead qualification after a customer fills out a lead form. It might be useful to ask them a specific qualifying question when they're filling out the lead form, such as what is their business size, or something about their pain point that might qualify them as an ideal customer. So we can try to build audiences that are based on the leads that are specifically demonstrating the characteristics of your ideal customer profile, and really focus on those as you said, and double down on those kinds of audiences. So I think creating that loop with the first party data from your CRM, the different funnels within it, especially as you keep on pushing those leads down the funnel, they have a higher level of intent and better alignment with your ideal customer profile. Just really doubling down on those kinds of audiences with first party data targeting and attribution is really going to be an effective way to generate that scalable coin operated paid advertising and direct acquisition strategy as you grow the business.
Sure. That sounds great. I love it. I love the quick tip. So what do you think the best way to do that? I know you said a lot there, but what do you think the best way, let's dive in a little deeper, if you don't mind, into the quick tip. What's the best way to segment that audience? Is it is it continuing to do what we're doing today from a high level and just getting more granular? So focusing on the B2B SaaS companies in specific realms or industries themselves, or we're vertical agnostic really today. Maybe that shouldn't be the case. I don't know, but time will tell. Do you have any recommendations there?
Yeah, I think in terms of the audience segmentations, looking at who are the existing buyers of your software, who those decision makers are, I think that's a great foundation for creating those audiences and then segmenting them out, and also using some of the existing funnel data that you have. So as decision makers start moving through the funnel, we have those very targeted, valuable audiences that can be used to keep on pushing them through the funnel and creating different audience segments and lookalikes that can target them not just on typical B2B channels like LinkedIn, but anywhere they're online, because it's not a spray and pray approach, targeting those right decision makers that are likely to interact with the business. That's really key, I think, for this strategy that can be very expensive otherwise to scale.
Sure.
So that's what I had to say. So thanks so much for joining our interview. And if you found, for anyone in the audience, if you found this interview helpful and this rapid returns tip helpful, please leave a comment below. And remember that when you sign up for meetotis.com, we'll match your first month's advertising spend. So every dollar that you spend with us, we'll match this investment to drive ROI and have a very iterative approach to driving the KPIs you need to scale your channels. So I really appreciate you, Will, for coming on the podcast. So thanks so much for your time. It was great hearing about your business.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.